Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Two huge pieces of data we want to go through on this awesome Monday. Both of them related indirectly to the Cybertruck, but we're going to get a lot of data from this to really understand where the Cybertruck price is going to end up. The first is an announcement from Ford where they have cut the price of the F-150 Lightning by as much as $10,000. And there was a tweet from Elon Musk commenting on this change as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the Ford news first, where Ford has cut the price of the F-150 Lightning by as much as $10,000. Now, I do want to list the breakout for each trim from Ford for the Lightning so you can see exactly what the new pricing is going to look like for each one of the trims, which is going to give us a good idea of what the Cybertruck is going to look like from a price perspective once it's launched. So the Pro, which is Ford's entry-level F-150 Lightning, starts at $50,000 with 230 miles of range. The XLT Standard, which is the next trim up, is about $55,000 for 240 miles and $70,000 for 320 miles. And the Lariat Standard is $70,000 for 240 miles. The Lariat Extended for $77,400 for 320 miles. And the Platinum, which is Ford's top-of-the-line model for the F-150 Lightning, is $92,000 for 320 miles of range. Now, what's interesting here is that the F-150 Lightning has been out for a little while, and demand was rumored to be pretty good for the truck. However, if Ford is dropping prices by this much, it points to two things. One, it could be that Ford is looking to stoke more demand for the truck as they ramp up supply, which is quite standard in the auto industry, especially how Tesla operates as well as an EV manufacturer. They love to lower the price to increase production and stoke some demand. And then the other variable could be, which I think is probably more telling, is that they are getting ready for the release of the Cybertruck and where the pricing for that truck may end up. What I want to do now is I want to highlight a tweet from Elon Musk where he comments on this price change. This is directly in relation to the tweet that Sawyer highlighted from CNBC. And what Elon Musk said, as I bring it up here on the screen and I lean into my iPad, and you don't see me doing this, Ford said, or rather Elon Musk said, the Ford Lightning is a good vehicle, just somewhat expensive, especially given the high interest rates these days for any kind of loan. So that to me is a pretty big clue. It's a very, very big clue as far as where the Cybertruck is going to end up from a pricing perspective. Before the change, the Lightning was about $10,000 higher, and I made a video, which I'll post in the comment section below, where I try to predict where the Cybertruck pricing is going to be based on the pricing primarily from the F-150 Lightning, plus other competitors like the Chevy alternative. But with this change, it really brings up a lot of questions. Number one, is this in response to the Cybertruck being announced over the weekend that they started the manufacturing of that truck? In case you missed it, Tesla built the very first Cybertruck out of their Austin factory over the weekend. And it's just strange timing that Ford on the Monday morning decides to lower the price. So this could be in direct response to that. And if we compare where the Model Y is versus the Mach-E, which is the SUV from Ford, the electric SUV, which is a direct competitor to the Model Y, we can see that the Model Y is actually quite a bit cheaper than the Mach-E, like for similar feature set, similar miles, so on and so forth. And I'll have a graphic up here so you can kind of see what the difference looks like. Now, if Tesla decides to go with the same pricing strategy for the Cybertruck versus, say, a Ford F-150 Lightning, it's not out of the question that we may see a truck from Tesla that has 350 miles of range, and it could be around that $60,000 mark, which is significantly lower versus where I had it in my initial predictions, where I was comparing the price of the F-150 Lightning, its competitors, and where I thought the Cybertruck would end up. So then what this also means is because now that Ford has lowered a lot of their pricing, especially under that $80,000 MSRP limit that the federal government has for the EV tax credit. If you're not familiar, the US government will give you a $7,500 tax credit as long as you qualify for certain income requirements. If we buy a truck that's under $80,000, and it's starting in 2024, you can take this at the point of sale instead of taking it as a tax return at the end of the year, as a tax credit rather. So With this change, the Ford F-150 Lightning now has multiple trims and multiple variations that are now under that $80,000 MSRP limit, which allows them to take advantage of that credit. But this also means that Tesla theoretically should also be able to have that capability as well once the announced pricing for the Cybertruck. There could also be a situation here, and this is where I'm really speculating, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, where depending how Tesla decides to break up their trims, especially related to their tri-motor variation, which is the one that allows the truck to have that real wheel steering. You could have a truck that has 3 motors, which I believe is what they're doing, to enable that real wheel steering, is really enabled by that tri-motor configuration in the back. That they'll be able to sell a tri-motor configuration for, say, more than 350 miles of range below $80,000. And that would really set that truck apart from the rest of the competition. The variables there are going to be the 4680 ramp, so the battery supply that Tesla has been working on, which the Cybertruck is likely to use given its single piece casting sort of strategy from a manufacturing perspective for the front and the rear, and the structural battery pack for basically the floor of the truck where the batteries are going to go. If they have really good supply of those batteries and they've really hit the nail on the chemistry and making sure that it's giving you as much range as possible for the power, then you could start getting into that 500 mile plus range for the higher trims. But then the question becomes, will those be above the $80,000 threshold for the EV tax credit or below? After these news, I mean, what my gut's telling me is that we might be pleasantly surprised on the price of the Cybertruck. It's not necessarily going to mean that they're going to uphold the original prices where they started at $40,000, and you could get sort of this tri-motor long range variation with 500 miles of range, I believe sub $70,000, which would be shocking, to be completely honest. But we're getting closer to sort of that in between thing where Tesla could offer a long range pickup truck under $80,000. And everybody will be able to take advantage of that EV tax credit. Lastly, the other thing that also brings up is that when Tesla announces earnings on this Wednesday, which is July 19th, where they cover how much money they've made for the last quarter, I wonder if that's going to be the perfect place for them to open up the configurator and allow people to start seeing the pricing for the truck. Given that the first truck has rolled off the line or rolled off the factory floor in Austin over the weekend, one would think that they're very close to being at production ready and deliveries. If you look at the Model Y took about 2 months to go from the first production unit being released from the factory to it being delivered to customers. And so if September's coming up here in a couple months, then this forum might make a lot of sense for them to release pricing, especially now that Elon has made that comment and now that we have pricing from Ford. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I wonder if you also think that they'll release the configurator and do the pricing during the earnings call here in a couple of days. And yeah, it's Cybertruck season, y'all. We're officially here. 4 years later, it feels like we're finally to the point where a new Tesla product is coming out, and all the buzz and excitement that's usually associated with the brand is really starting to peak again. And so that's how it feels right now. So let me know if that's how you feel as well. And I'd love to hear your thoughts as far as where you think the pricing is going to end up now, given some of these news. So if you enjoyed this content, throw me a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this to more people. And if you'd like to support the channel, I have a link to my merch in the description below, as well as Athletic Greens, which is a supplement I take every single morning. You get free travel packs and vitamin D with your purchase. And yeah, I'm going to go drink mine right now. So thank you all very much. I'll keep a very close eye on the on what's going on. I don't know if you can hear that truck going by behind me. Apologies for the background noise, but yeah, experimenting with different formats, and we'll talk to you soon. So I'll keep my eyes open. Anything else that comes up related to the Cybertruck, I'll make sure to bring it to you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.